He gave her everything, but her communications with her lover destroyed him. She accepted that he was a loser who couldn't provide for his family. Our marriage seemed perfect until I discovered my wife had been unfaithful for a year. We got married at 25, and now we're both 38. We met in college, tied the knot, and everything felt amazing. We graduated, landed great jobs, and started building a life together. Money was never an issue since we both earned well. My wife worked in her dad's small business, while I was at a big company. A few years in, my boss left unexpectedly, and someone needed to step up. I was the only one who knew the department well enough. So I got a huge promotion, big salary bump, bonuses, benefits, the whole deal. By 28, I was making about 3 times what my wife earned. That same year, she gave birth to our first daughter, and 2 years later, our second. Working for her dad gave her a flexible schedule, which helped. But about 5 years ago, my father-in-law passed away suddenly. This left my wife and her mom with a tough choice: sell the company or run it themselves. My mother-in-law had no clue how to manage it, so my wife stepped up. She took over and ran it just as successfully as her dad had. Her income shot up, surpassing mine. I was so proud of her. Going from an employee to leading an entire company. That's impressive and deserves respect. However, our daughters started feeling neglected because we were both barely home. My wife and I talked it over and decided one of us should stay with them. She said, "Your company can manage without you, but mine might collapse." I agreed, quit my job, and became a stay-at-home dad. I do everything: take care of the girls, cook, clean, fix things, run errands, whatever needs doing. I'd greet my wife after work, making sure she felt supported. Everything was fine until about a year ago, when things changed. My wife used to appreciate my efforts, but suddenly she got irritable. She'd snap, saying things like, "Do you even do anything? Maybe get a job?" This stung, especially since I'd given up my career to raise our kids, keep the house in order, and support her. She also stopped showing interest in intimacy. When I'd suggest it, she'd brush me off, saying she wasn't in the mood. It was odd. Eventually, I stopped trying, assuming it was stress from the pandemic or other pressures. I did everything I could to make her happy, but nothing worked. Last week, our older daughter had a softball game. I got everything ready, and we went. During the game, I wanted to record a video for my parents, who live out of state and rarely see the girls. I forgot my phone, so I asked for my wife. She'd been glued to it all day, so I figured she could use a break. She handed it over and went to grab snacks and drinks. While I was filming, a notification popped up from some app. I opened it and couldn't believe what I saw. She was texting a guy from work, 8 years younger than her. They were sharing private photos and videos, talking about their intimate moments together. Then they started discussing me. He called me a loser who couldn't hold down a real job or provide for his family. And my wife, she agreed with him. I was crushed and furious at the same time. I heard her coming back, quickly closed the app and kept filming the game. On the drive home, I was silent. When we got back, she tried talking, but I wasn't in the mood. Later, we went to bed, and since she hadn't seen that guy in a while, she suddenly tried to get close. I told her I wasn't feeling it. She snapped, "If you're gonna act like that, sleep on the couch." I got up, went to the living room, and I've been sleeping there since. I don't know what to do next. I'm completely lost. My wife was my everything. Our daughters are my world. And now it's all falling apart. Any advice would be greatly appreciated, because I'm struggling here. Oh, and I forgot to mention I took screenshots of the conversation and saved them on my phone. I have proof. Update 1. Thank you all for the advice. First, I've got all the evidence. Texts, photos, videos, everything. Second, I don't own my wife's company. It's split 50-50 between her and her mom. Third, I can't sleep in our bed anymore. I've been in the guest room every night and plan to stay there. Now the big news: I've decided to file for divorce. This morning I called a law firm in another city to avoid any leaks. Luckily, someone canceled, and they fit me in right after I dropped off the girls. I drove there, and the lawyer was great. I showed him the evidence, and he said with proof like this, my wife won't have much leverage in court. Since I left my job to raise our daughters while she was barely home, being unfaithful and prioritizing her affair, we're in a strong position to win. He explained I'm entitled to alimony and child support. The house will stay with me, and she'll have to cover its costs while the girls live there. He also mentioned I could get extra funds, since I'm currently unemployable in the job market, which would help me retrain or find work. Some of you were right, the lawyer advised me not to get a job until the divorce is finalized. He said if you start working now, you could lose a chunk of the settlement. He asked if I wanted full custody. I said I'm fine with her seeing the girls on weekends occasionally, but I want primary custody. He noted that since she brought her partner into our home, I could argue she put the girls at risk, which strengthens my case. I'm going for full custody with her, seeing the girls maybe once a week, or twice a month. I'll set clear rules, no men around my daughters. If I find out anyone's near them, she'll face serious consequences. The lawyer stressed I need to stay calm and avoid confrontations until the papers are ready, and she's served with an eviction notice from the house, which should happen next week. He warned, I know it's tough, but keep quiet until it's done. Once the divorce is final, you can say whatever you want, but for now, stay silent. He gave clear instructions: act normal, no fights, no drama, sleep separately, and under no circumstances get intimate with her. I asked why, and he said, just trust me and follow my lead. I got home, made dinner, and I'm acting like everything's fine. I'll keep it together until she's officially served next week. The lawyer also strongly suggested I get tested for health issues and do a paternity test for the girls. When I asked why, he said infidelity like this is rarely a one-time thing. That hit me hard and scared me. Update 2. I'm feeling overwhelmed, and this is really tough right now. I talked to my lawyer about sharing these updates, and he said it's fine as long as I keep things brief and avoid specific details that could reveal too much. So this update will be short. First, I got tested for health issues and did a paternity test. Good news, I'm healthy, no problems there. Now the question I know many of you are wondering about, the paternity results. Will I remain a dad to my girls no matter what? Absolutely, but I'm relieved to say I'm their biological father. I never thought I'd have to check, but here we are. As for my soon-to-be ex, she's moved out. The court granted me full temporary custody, and that might stay permanent, more details later. My lawyer made sure the girls stayed with me, and her eviction was handled legally. It wasn't pretty, but I'll save the full story for another time. She was served divorce papers at work, and from what I hear, it was rough. Again, details later. My daughters know what's happening. The older one understands we're divorcing, and since one of her friend's parents split for similar reasons, she's seen how it affected her friend. She doesn't want us to break up. She cries and begs me to bring her mom back. I'm planning to get them into therapy to help them process this. The younger one just misses her mom and wants her home. It breaks my heart and makes me feel like a terrible dad. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just ignored her infidelity for the girls' sake, to keep the family together, but I can't do that. I've even thought about suggesting an open relationship until the girls are grown, but I know it wouldn't work. They'd see their parents don't love each other, and that'd hurt them more. My ex is staying with her mom now. My mother-in-law called and asked to meet. I agreed. She didn't pry, just said we talk later, but begged me not to cut her off from the girls. I told her, you're a loving grandma. As long as you keep the issues between me and your daughters separate, I see no reason to stop you from seeing them. She thanked me. My ex keeps calling and texting, trying to talk about us. Per my lawyer's advice, all communication goes through a monitored channel and only covers the kids. That's it for now. I'll keep posting updates, and once this is over, I'll share a full post with all the details I can't share yet. Update 3. I spent Thanksgiving with my soon-to-be ex-wife and her mom, but only for the sake of our daughters. My lawyer made sure all communication stayed focused on the kids, with no room for reconciliation attempts. Before the holiday, I met with my mother-in-law to discuss how we'd handle things moving forward for the girls' sake. During our talk, she shared something about my ex. Apparently, in high school, her boyfriend was unfaithful. I didn't even know she'd had a serious relationship back then. According to my mother-in-law, the guy came from a troubled family, and one day my ex caught him with another girl. Her mom was shocked by his behavior. In college, my ex had other relationships, but her mom knew they wouldn't last. When she met me, though, her mom felt she'd finally found the right son-in-law. She apologized deeply for her daughter's actions and promised to ensure my ex wouldn't cause any issues during the divorce. A couple of days before Thanksgiving, my mother-in-law invited me and the girls to her place for dinner. I immediately asked, will she be there? She said yes, I replied. Then I can't come. She understood but asked if we could have one more family holiday for the girls. She added, I know you have a lawyer, so check with him. If he says it's a bad idea, I'll respect that. I asked my lawyer, and he advised, let your wife know through the app that this is strictly for the kids to avoid any confusion. So I did. My ex had already been texting, begging to see me and the girls, who also really wanted to see their mom. I swallowed my pride for their sake and went. It was incredibly awkward. My ex hugged the girls, then tried to hug and kiss me. I stepped back and hugged her mom instead. All evening, she acted like we were still a family, trying to talk to me, but I only gave short yes or no answers while helping her mom with dinner and cleanup. My mother-in-law, who's religious, wanted to pray before the meal. I'm not religious, but out of respect, I agreed. My ex sat next to me, holding our daughter's hand, and tried to grab mine. I pulled away. Maybe it was harsh, but I don't want her touching me. At dinner, she kept pretending we were still together, talking about Christmas and family trips, like she genuinely thought we'd vacation as a family. That's when I realized agreeing to this dinner was a mistake. After dinner, I got up, helped the girls wash up, cleaned, did dishes, and got ready to leave. The girls wanted to watch a movie with their mom, one we always watched together. I allowed it. My ex tried to sit close to me on the couch, but I moved to a chair. Her mom was visibly annoyed with her the whole time. After the movie, the girls fell asleep. I carried them to the car, went back for my things, and my ex, in tears, grabbed my hand, begging for another chance. She said she wanted to save our family and was sorry. Before I could respond, her mom, no joke, grabbed her by the hair and yanked her back. Then she turned to me calmly and said, "Good night." After that, she started yelling at her daughter. I told my lawyer everything, and he confirmed I didn't do anything to suggest reconciliation. My ex keeps texting and calling, pleading to try again, but I ignore her. I only talk to her about the girls. I'm expecting Christmas to bring similar issues, so I'll check with my lawyer about whether to go. Update. This update will be short, but things with my daughters have gotten really tough. This week they had 2 therapy sessions. The first went well. The girls came out calmer than usual. After talking with the therapist, I felt she truly understands my kids. But the second session was a complete disaster. The therapist explained to the girls, in an age-appropriate way, that the reason for our divorce is that their mom was unfaithful and betrayed me. I knew they'd find out eventually, but I didn't expect it so soon. When I picked them up, they ran to me in tears, hugging me tightly, saying over and over how much they love me. That's not what I wanted. I asked the therapist, "Why did you tell them?" She said, "They know you're divorcing. They see you're distant with their mom. They're smart, they notice how you act around her, and they wanted to know why." I tried to avoid it, but they won't make progress in therapy, unless we're honest. I won't go into how exactly she explained it, but they now know their mom wasn't loyal. I think my older daughter might handle it, but my younger one, I'm not so sure. When we got home, the girls wouldn't let go of me. They cried all evening. I ordered their favorite food, put on their favorite movies in my room, and we just lay there together. After they fell asleep, I went to the bathroom and broke down. My ex doesn't even realize the pain she's causing our kids. I don't know how to deal with this. The therapist suggested trying medication temporarily to help them adjust to this new reality. I said no. She supported my choice, saying it's just an option. She can't prescribe anything but recommended seeing a pediatrician, who'd likely diagnose and suggest treatment. I'm not comfortable medicating my kids. I want them to process this naturally. At least Christmas won't be an issue. My daughters now feel very negatively toward their mom. I found out my older one said she never wants to see her again. The younger one, as usual, echoes her sister, but she might feel the same way. I was shocked. I told them, "You don't hate her. You're upset, but you don't hate her. She loves you and cares about you." My older daughter just said, "No, she doesn't," then broke down in my arms and fell asleep. The younger one followed suit. That's my life now. Update 5. The girls are doing better. They're still seeing the same therapist, and they seem to be starting to heal. They've said they don't hate their mom anymore, but made it clear they're not ready to see her for a long time. Those are their words, not mine. We'll see how things go. My ex found out the girls know the truth. She tried calling them, and they answered, but afterwards she's been a bit more respectful of our boundaries. I think she's finally starting to grasp what she's done. Now, about her affair partner. I already knew he was trouble, but recent events have left me speechless. Someone asked if he's married. I didn't know. I dug through my wife's company records and found an employee contact list for emergencies. I called his number and a woman named Emily answered. Turns out he's married with a young child. I told her everything. At first she didn't believe me and hung up, but later she called back and asked to meet. We met, and I showed her all the evidence. Emily asked to sit in my car. As soon as I closed the door, she broke down, sobbing, saying, "How could he do this to me? What did I do wrong?" I told her, "You didn't do anything. It's not your fault." I gave her my lawyer's contact info. Then Emily asked, "How long was this going on?" I said, "About a year, maybe a bit more." She suddenly shifted from grief to anger. I didn't understand why until she took off her hair. It was a wig. She looked at me and said, "I just beat cancer." After their child was born, Emily started having health issues, and doctors found a tumor. Over the past year or so, she's had 2 surgeries, gone through chemotherapy, and been on medication. She looked healthy, and I never would have guessed she'd been through such a serious illness. She told me she's now in remission, but for the last 2 years, she and her husband hadn't been intimate. During my pregnancy, I felt awful, and then the cancer completely knocked me down, she said. I was bald, bloated from meds. Nothing like I used to be, but I tried so hard. I thought now that I'm better, I could be a wife again. I was planning to surprise him, but it turns out my caring, loving husband had already found someone else to focus on. Emily broke down again, saying her child would now grow up in a broken home. I tried to comfort her, but then she made a move toward me. I stopped her immediately and said, "No, you're not in the right headspace. This isn't right." She thanked me for being honest, asked for all the evidence, and went home. Since then, we've texted a few times. We're both in similar situations, so I think we'll stay in touch. And thanks to those who suggested checking if he was married. I wouldn't have thought of it myself. Updates. People have asked if I spent Christmas with Emily. I did, and honestly, it was wonderful. The whole day felt perfect. I set up gifts from Santa for the girls beforehand. Probably the last year my older one still believes, so I wanted to make it special. I got everything ready while they slept. The girls woke up 15 minutes later, screaming that Santa had come. I dragged myself out of bed and followed them. They tore into their presents, thrilled. After that, I put on a movie, and one of the girls curled up next to me and fell asleep. I got up, made coffee, and then the younger one woke up, saying she was hungry. I handed her an apron, and we made breakfast together. The older one joined us, and we all ate. They played with their gifts all day, and it genuinely made me happy. That evening, I was supposed to take them to their moms. I'm usually strict about schedules, but with everything going on, I've softened a bit. The girls were reluctant, saying they didn't want to go. I told them, "Your mom loves you." Their therapist said I need to support their relationship with her for their healthy development. She also warned that if I don't, my wife could use it against me in court. The therapist spoke to my wife too and was blunt. "You betrayed your husband, and it's clear he's the primary parent. You'll have to work hard to rebuild your daughter's trust and love." I also told the girls, "Don't punish your grandma for what your mom did. Go for her." They agreed. When we got there, I called my mother-in-law. She came out, grabbed their things, and the girls stayed overnight. She asked if it was okay for them to sleep over. I checked with my lawyer, who said one night was fine, just not multiple days or a regular thing. I told the girls, "If you want to come home, call me and I'll pick you up." As I was leaving, my wife came outside. I don't know what her mom said to her, but she looked confused. Her mom was giving her a stern look. I think she wanted to say something, but she just gave a teary wave. I drove off. I'd left dinner in the oven on warm for Emily, who was coming over later. When she arrived, her kid wasn't with her. I asked, "Where's the little one?" She said, "My in-laws wanted to spend Christmas with him, and so did his dad. It's basically the same setup as you." Through a lawyer, I nodded. Emily looked amazing. We ate dinner and talked about life, our pasts, getting to know each other better. After dinner, we sat on the couch. I put on a movie, and we kept chatting. Then I grabbed a bottle of wine. I don't drink much, but Christmas is an exception. Emily asked, "Can I have some?" I checked. "Are you sure it's okay for you?" She said yes. I poured her a glass. Our conversation shifted from our pasts to hobbies, then to current struggles. We cried a bit, then started joking and laughing. After 2 bottles, which isn't like me, we got to talking about relationships, preferences, and what we each enjoy. Turns out, we're pretty similar in that department. Emily said, "Your wife messed up big time." I replied, "So did your husband." I know some suggested I should have responded when she made a move last time. I didn't then because I didn't want her acting on raw emotions. This time I said, "You can take off your wig if you want. You look incredible without it. You're beautiful with short hair." She took it off, teared up, and thanked me. We kept talking, then started watching the movie, sitting close. Here's a detail. My ex used to love when I'd rub her shoulders during cuddles. It relaxed her. I did it so often I didn't even realize I started doing it with Emily. She said, "That feels nice." I panicked, pulled my hands back, and apologized. "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to." She said, "It's okay. Actually, you can keep going. It's relaxing." So I did, and things escalated from there. The next morning, we had breakfast and showered. I asked, "Did you plan this?" She laughed and said, "No, but every girl keeps a spare outfit handy." As she was leaving, she asked, "Did you feel something last night?" I was honest and said yes, but added that we need to focus on ourselves and our kids and make sure these feelings are real, not just a reaction to everything going on. She agreed and said we'd figure it out later. Before she left, she kissed my cheek, thanked me for a great night, and said, "I'll text you." I went to pick up the girls. They said they had a good time and that their mom mostly behaved herself. So yeah, I just finished cooking dinner, and we're spending the evening together. Thanks everyone, these posts have been like therapy for me. Update 7. It's been busy lately, so this update will be short. I don't blame anyone who thinks this story sounds made up. There are plenty of trolls and drama seekers online. My daughters are doing much better. Therapy and activities are helping them heal. They still have rough moments, but overall, things are improving. As for me and Emily, we talk almost daily, but nothing's happened since Christmas. We don't regret it, but we agree it shouldn't have happened. Now, about my soon-to-be ex for weeks after Christmas, she kept trying to get me to talk, but she's mostly stopped now. My lawyer's aware of everything, and official meetings are starting soon. She's finally realizing I'm done and she can't change my mind. I'm sure she'll try to push for reconciliation, but that's not happening. She still texts or calls occasionally, trying to persuade me, but I ignore her messages. Here's the big news. Her affair partner was arrested. I can't share too many details yet, but from what I understand, he showed up at my wife's workplace and started yelling at her. They got into a heated argument, and when she threatened to call the police, he hit her. Co-workers stepped in and restrained him. The police showed up and took him away. My wife filed a report against him. I'm sure he'll get a lawyer and try to countersue over their workplace relationship. But I don't have more info yet. My mother-in-law told me about it and said if you want you can meet with her. Apparently he gave her a black eye and split her lip. My mother-in-law just shrugged and said, "Karma. I haven't seen my wife since, and neither have the girls. Unless something major happens, you probably won't hear from me again until our first official meeting with the lawyers." Unfortunately, that's where the updates from the original author end. What do you think happened next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Personally, I think things probably worked out okay for the author. If something dramatic had gone down, I bet he would have posted again, asking for advice. But since things seem to have stabilized, there's no need for more updates. You know how it goes when life's chaotic, you're venting online, seeking help. When things calm down, you don't feel the urge to post anymore. Now let's move on to the next story, another one from your favorite topic, infidelity. I found out from my daughter that my wife was cheating with a guy she met at the supermarket. Here's what I did. My wife, 33, was a shopping pro. Her mom and grandma were very focused on material things, so she grew up learning how to hunt for deals and shop smart. That's why I, at 37, usually didn't tag along. She could spend 6 hours or more in stores. Every Saturday she'd head out at 6 a.m., first to the farmer's market, then the mall, grabbing lunch there and sometimes keeping at it after. We'd been married 8 years, and this was her routine. Sometimes she'd take our 5-year-old daughter along. To me, my wife was the most trustworthy person I knew. I never doubted her loyalty, but over time, she started leaving our daughter behind more often, heading out while she was still asleep, not giving her the option to come. I asked why, and she said it helped her get home faster. Our daughter would get cranky and slow her down before she finished shopping. It made sense, but it upset me because our daughter loved those trips. She started asking to go along, but my wife always said no, promising to do something fun the next day, or buy her a treat. It wasn't the same. I let it slide for a while, but eventually I felt we needed to talk. I told her she had to take our daughter that Saturday. She wasn't happy about it. I couldn't believe it was such a big deal to her. She finally agreed and took her. But the next day, Sunday, she went out alone again. Sundays were usually family time, when we'd do things like mindfulness activities together. Our daughter loved turning it into a game, sneaking around during our practice. When my wife got home, she was in a great mood, acting like nothing was wrong. Then our daughter asked a question that flipped everything upside down. "Mom, did you see the man with the doll today?" My wife laughed nervously and said, "No, he's only at the market on Saturdays." I asked, "Who's that?" Before she could answer, our daughter said, "The man Mommy kissed yesterday." I stared at her, then at my wife. She knew a serious talk was coming. I took her to another room after settling our daughter with some toys. I pressed her until she couldn't dodge anymore. She tried saying our daughter was confused, but I knew our daughter expresses herself clearly. Plus, the way she looked at her mom like she knew she'd done something wrong and wanted me to know, said it all. Finally, my wife admitted it. She said the guy was just a nice person she'd befriended over years of visiting the market. He developed feelings for her, and she didn't want to hurt him, so she started kissing him. I couldn't believe she thought that was okay. I told her she'd betrayed my trust just by hiding this friendship from me. I need to know who's in her circle, if only for safety. Now I realized she'd been talking to this guy for years, introduced our daughter to him, and was kissing him. I looked her in the eyes and asked if she'd been intimate with him or anyone else. She blushed, looked away and said no. Her lie couldn't have been more obvious. I kept staring, but she tried changing the subject, asking if we could leave the room. I said no, and insisted she tell the truth, because her behavior gave her away. Her mouth went dry, and she started swallowing hard. Then she ran to the bathroom and got sick. I told her coming clean would help her feel better, but she acted like she had nothing to say, so I said I didn't want her going to the farmer's market anymore. She got mad, saying it was one of her biggest joys. I replied that she ruined it herself by kissing some guy. I wondered if she'd called him old on purpose, to make me picture a lonely elderly man and brush it off. But I'm not naive. For a month she stayed home on weekends, but then she found an excuse to go out again. This time she took our daughter to prove nothing shady was happening. They came back with store-bought groceries, confirming they hadn't been to the market. It made me sick that this had become an issue between us. Every time she left the house, I wondered if she was meeting this kissing guy. The first day she went out alone again, I decided to follow her. She didn't go to the farmer's market. She went to someone's house. Before I confirmed it, I knew whose place it was. I felt it in my gut. It was that guy's apartment. I knocked on the door after she went inside. A young guy answered, looking confused. He asked why I was there. I asked straight up, "Are you the man with the doll from the market?" He covered his mouth, then asked if I was her husband. I said yes and shouted her name. She came out and he told her to leave. Then he turned to me and said she'd told him she was a widow. My heart sank. Everything inside me froze. My wife stormed out, acting like she had a right to be mad, brushing past me to get to her car. I grabbed her keys, ran to my car, and locked myself inside. Before giving her keys back, minus the house key, she told her parents I'd kicked her out for no reason, and they let her stay with them. They even sent a truck to pick up her stuff. When they came to our place with her to sort things out, I told them the whole truth. They must have given her a serious talking to, because from that day on, she resented me for telling them. Just 5 weeks later, she moved out from her parents' place, choosing to crash with friends instead. The divorce went in my favor, and now she's only partially involved in our daughter's life. That's the story. Let me know what you think in the comments both about this one and the last. Thanks for sticking with this video till the end. Check out our previous video linked here, and best of luck to you all.